Welcome to Technado with Dyn DDoS, featuring sysadmin expert Dyn DDoS, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Hello and welcome to Technado with Dyn DDoS. I'm your host, Peter Van Rysdam, and I am not joined by Dyn DDoS.
What have you done with him, Peter?
Dyn, it's kind of last week of summer maybe, so maybe he's on a beach somewhere, or he's filming something else that he feels is more important. That could be the case as well. But don't worry, we are joined by understudy extraordinaire, Ronnie Wong. Ronnie, how you doing today?
I am doing well. I actually got a day notice before, so I'm kind of prepared.
Actually had time to read the article.
Did you need more?
Sometimes.
I don't prepare for this show at all.
Well,
that's my secret.
You can do that.
No one can tell, trust me.
Yeah.
And it shows, guys.
Yeah.
You act like I was hiding it.
Oh, man.
That is Daniel Lowry there. Daniel, how are you doing?
Yeah. I'm trying to give Ronnie, life advice over here.
I know you can't see Daniel in the dark over there. We had to turn the lights down for his sensitive eyes.
It's that, the hacker thing. Actually, you didn't turn the lights down for me. You turned them down for Ronnie. And for somehow, the light that I have is connected to Ronnie's light.
Because Don is pale enough that he creates his own light, like I do.
Right. He just glows a soft hue. I'm the same way.
All right. Well, our guest today is Kris Beevers, who was smart enough to wear a hat to protect himself from the lights that are so bright in this studio that they are probably projecting to wherever
Projecting
you are.
over here.
Yeah. He's co-founder and CEO of NS1's. Kris, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
It's already fun. Already a blast.
What do you mean by that?
Where are you located, Kris?
Well, I'm all the way on the East Coast in New Jersey is where I'm at.
In New Jersey.
That is right.
It's the Paris of the West.
That's right.
I don't think anyone's ever said that before. But you actually lived over in Asia for a while, right?
I did. I lived in Singapore. My wife is Singaporean, actually. So I occasionally get, yummy, they call it Peranakan food over there, like mee goreng. I love Singaporean food.
And in return,
I really miss it.
You've introduced her to New Jerseyan food.
Yeah.
Yum.
Meatball sub or...
This is called a doughboy. You're going to love it.
All right. Well, let's find out about some more relevant stuff in our first segment, which is rapid fire questions.
Who do you
Here we
work
go.
for?
What's new?
Who are you?
What's happening?
What's wrong with you?
All right, Kris, we're going to ask you about 5 rapid-fire questions. Got a minute to answer each of them. If you go over, I will threaten to buzz you.
But won't.
But probably won't. Daniel actually buzzed people last week, and we're still dealing with...
Give me my buzzer
The
back.
threat is real.
Yeah, we're still dealing with the legal consequences of that.
Just know, Kris, I'm thinking it in my head.
Yeah, you can do it just with your mouth.
The buzzer is happening.
All right,
ready.
Staring directly at the screen, know that he means to buzz you.
Don't worry, your time hasn't started yet. Don't worry.
The longer you go past my mental buzzer, the more infuriated I become.
You good? You good? You set? All right. Let's go ahead. I'll jump in with the first question. So we're asking everybody this month, how did you get started on your IT journey? And yours sounds interesting because it sounds like you kind of were in robotics and then woodworking and then back to tech. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm one of those people who has maybe a few too many interests, a little impractical, right? So I'm actually obviously, like most kids, into computers when I was young, right? Games and learning early programming, stuff like that. But I went to school for robotics, as you mentioned, right? So that's sort of computery, but not really IT, right? But ultimately learned I didn't like academics, missed the robotics boat, went and, as you said, started a company in wood products, actually. We're working on special materials for insulation here in the Northeast. But just not my first love. I've always really loved the internet. In particular, my first startup was in a file sharing startup when you could get away with that kind of thing, and came back to it and have now, been in internet mode ever since.
Oh, that's me.
That's your next, Ronnie. Yeah.
That was
Can you give
great.
us your elevator pitch for NS1, please?
Oh, the elevator pitch. Well, okay, guys. So, NS1, if you don't know us, right, we sit sort of at the center of the world's applications and audiences. We connect everybody with the applications you use every day, right? We're doing that with a platform for what we call application traffic intelligence and automation. It's a platform we call NS1 Connect. And the way you can break this down is we're providing a few categories of technology to our customers, which are cloud native network services like the core foundational tech, DDI, DNS, DHCP, IP address management, stuff like that powers any enterprise network. We've got edge to cloud networking, which is we power the domains of the applications we all use every day. If you watch movies online or you listen to music or you read the news, you buy anything or any kind of enterprise SaaS, in general, it starts with a domain that is on our platform. And then the reason our customers are working with us is we make experiences better for these applications, right? By directing the traffic to the best infrastructure for you right now to create that good experience. So hopefully that's a good, quick sense.
Wow, that was great.
That's a long elevator.
That was not a bad elevator pitch.
I didn't get the buzzer at least.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You came close. Now, I've got it on good authority that this whole thing kind of started in a bar now with a napkin and some little bit of Python code. Sounds made up, but go ahead and tell us your story.
I was going to say it sounds kind of stereotypical, doesn't it?
But it really did go down that way.
Yeah, it really did. The bar was Francis Tavern. If you guys have ever been in Lower Manhattan,
oh man.
Anyway, no,
welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Well, I'm going to keep talking anyway.
Yeah, you go.
But Francis Tavern, which is like one of the oldest bars in Lower Manhattan, and I just remember grabbing a stout there with a guy who eventually became my co-founder, John, and somewhere, someday I'll find the napkin again. It's in some manila folder somewhere. And there was not code on the napkin. It was a diagram. And then the code came, later in the evening after the beer wore off. But we really did. We started with 22 lines of Python that ultimately has ballooned into, a million lines of code that powers the internet at this point.
Still writing in Python on that?
There's still a lot of Python in our platform, actually. Yeah, but they took my commit access away a long time ago.
Smart.
Smart guys.
We have got to cut him off.
Yeah. So I understand somewhere along the lines of the growth of the company, there was a DDoS attack, but it was actually a positive for you guys. Was it actually you guys that were attacked, or there was an attack and you guys?
Well, we've certainly been attacked. I'll tell you that, and we probably are being attacked right now. And we've certainly learned a lot from those events. But I think the one that you're probably referring to was not against NS1, but was against a company called Dyn, which isn't around anymore. They've been bought by Oracle about 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. But it was a real watershed event in our space, and just a little bit more about this, because it is kind of interesting, right? These guys were powering all these important domains on the internet. And one day I was on the road, I was in Boston, and started getting text messages from all these customers and salespeople and so on saying, hey, Dyn is offline. And what it was you guys were talking about botnets earlier, right? So it was Mirai, right? You guys may recall this Mirai botnet that was really big in 2016, 17. And it was attacking this critical service that was powering, a huge chunk of the internet. And if the domain doesn't resolve, right, if you can't go to whatever.com and get back an IP address, doesn't matter what other infrastructure you built behind the thing. And what it did was it emphasized for the world, like, we need some redundancy at this piece of the stack. The whole internet is dependent upon the DNS and domains, and it really just changed the way everybody thinks about their architecture.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, while we have you here, I want to get into a new topic here. We want to talk about edge computing, specifically how edge computing, edge networking, and edge data management work together for application success. And now, I'm not the expert here. When we say edge, I'm thinking about Microsoft's browser. Yeah, U2 or Microsoft's browser that they just shove down your throat at every possible.
They do love it.
But that's not what we're talking about here. So just for starters, can you give us kind of an overview of what are you talking about when you say edge computing?
Edge is such an overloaded term, right? And I think the main way that I'd like to present it to everybody here is what happens when we can move applications in particular and the infrastructure that underlies applications closer to the end users who are using those applications, or closer to the systems that are connecting to those applications, whatever it is, right? So when we're talking about edge, we're mostly talking about the infrastructure that underlies applications that we all connect with and engage with, and how that is moving to a more distributed footprint, more dynamic footprint that is, now global, as opposed to, let me contrast it, right? Back when I lived in Singapore, you guys were mentioning that earlier. Most of the internet was in Ashburn, Virginia, right? I was in these big, huge, beefy data centers outside of Washington, D.C. That is not the edge, right? That is kind of a big data center somewhere. The edge is, let's put application code and data and connectivity in Singapore and in South Africa and in Amsterdam and in New Jersey and wherever we want it to be, so that it's proximal, right, to people or systems that need to interact with it.
Is that about speed? Is that about redundancy, security? Like what's the main driver there?
You just named the three of them, right? Like it's actually about all of those things, right? It's think about what happens when you distribute the code, the data, the connectivity of an application. First of all, you start to get some interesting natural resiliencies, right? Fiber cuts or power outages, things like that happen all the time. But when your application lives in tens or hundreds or thousands of different places, it's really hard to take it out, right? So it's more resilient. Performance is sort of obvious, right? We can't beat the speed of light. There's sort of like laws of physics for data in transit over fiber. And if you're in Singapore and you're interacting with a server in Ashburn, you're paying about a 200 millisecond penalty each way, right? If you're interacting with a server down the street, you're not, right? So you're getting better experiences. And then security, I think, is another interesting lens here. When you take the edge idea all the way to the extreme, what we're starting to see now are applications that are placed, internet applications that are placed inside the corporate firewall, for example. So you are getting new guarantees about how your data is being transmitted, or how your transactions with respect to the application are happening, and what exposure they have. So it's really all the above.
Yeah, it does seem like edge computing and edge networking and all that has a lot of benefits. I have read that we talked about speed and that kind of thing, that speed was probably the number one complaint, was that there is still a little bit of lag because you're not local anymore. You're not inside. You're not still doing that whole, I've got one large data center and it is where it is, and that's where we're going for information, and it's centralized. But I don't get that immediate experience that I would get if it was local to my network here. So what would you say is the biggest drawback of edge that we need to really kind of make better?
I don't think it's that, right? And I think it is, just to touch on that for 1 second, I think, humans have a sort of a latency threshold beyond which it really doesn't matter. And that is somewhere on the order of, a few to tens of milliseconds. And this is why you see services like, streaming gaming, right? Or we are even seeing, browsers in the cloud, stuff like that we can use, right? And that feel pretty snappy to us these days. The actual harder constraints on edge are, how do you build, applications and infrastructure that can handle being distributed across, tens, hundreds, thousands of sites, and how do you orchestrate all that, right? There's a lot of moving parts in edge that aren't there when your application is sitting on a server in a data center somewhere, right? And I think this is where there's a lot of investment and also just a lot of excitement in the ecosystem. We all sort of value the performance and the reliability and the security, the benefits that we just talked about. And there are new applications like, we canonically are talking about self-driving cars, right? Or remote health type applications where we really badly want to be able to do these things, and we need edge to become more real to make it happen. But the hard problems between us and there are, how do we orchestrate, where do we spin up the code? How do we connect users to the right code at the right time in the right place? How do we synchronize our data across 1,000 different sites in real time all the time? These are really hard problems.
At the risk of queuing up a sales pitch, how does NS1 help kind of us move towards that edge computing model?
Well, I'll keep it as unpitchy as I possibly can, right? So the short version is Today, and I touched on this earlier in introducing us, we sit in the critical path and control the application traffic for most of the important applications on the internet, right? If you're watching a movie, which may not be super latency sensitive, but you care about the reliability, or if you're interacting with, I don't know, your online email, there's a pretty good chance that we're directing you to the right infrastructure to do that right now, right? And so that's one of the problems at Edge is I've got a distributed footprint. I've got a user. Which piece of that infrastructure should that user connect to right now to maximize, their quality of experience, maximize reliability, and so on? That's a big piece of the puzzle that we have. And I think another thing that we do at NS1 is we sit in what we call the audience footprint, right? We sit inside the branch office, inside the coffee shop, inside the hotel that you're staying in, and we're the system that connects your device to the network, right? Gives it an IP address and on-ramp to those applications you care about. So we end up being sort of on both ends of this edge street. Because of that, having this great intelligence and visibility and control over how you connect with and interact with these applications as they move to the edge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so going back to your example, if I'm in Virginia and there's the data center in Virginia, but I'm getting sent to the new data centers in Singapore, that's kind of dumb. So you're making sure
that would be dumb.
Yeah, you're making sure I'm going to the right one.
That's exactly right.
Very cool.
So you guys, a very intelligent traffic cop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
So, so you guys have some new products and some things coming out.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, a few things for us recently. One thing I'll touch on just briefly. We had our big annual event, about a month and a half ago, called Insights. That's NS1 GHTS, which turns out to be really cute when you type it, but it's harder to verbalize, right?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. And so, a lot of replays on there online for that at insights with a one.ns1.com. Some really cool stuff on this edge topic and a lot of other application delivery, network automation, and other topics. A couple other things for us. We're investing really hard in open source at kind of the core of network automation and edge, as we've talked about. So we have some new projects like Orb, which is observability. What is happening across these really big distributed edge footprints? Netbox, we're a major investor in this huge open source community around network source of truth, network automation, which is really critical to unlocking these very dynamic distributed edge footprints, right? And final thing I'll mention is we launched our latest iteration of our platform called NS1 Connect about a month ago, which brings all of these different technologies together so our customers can manage these big edge footprints. So we got a lot going on at NS1 these days.
Yeah, and there's another conference coming up, right? A smaller kind of version.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, indeed. We do our big annual conference Insights, and then in between, we have this great community that really wants to get together and engage on these topics. So we do Insights days every 3 months or so. We have one coming up in September. So check out, again, insights.ns1.com and you'll find it.
And those are virtual? People can attend?
So certainly virtual these days, right? And we'll keep them, I would imagine, hybrid into the future. So
yeah, that makes sense. And so just to clarify, when you say NS1, NS, the number one, not ONE.com.
You got it.
Perfect.
You got it. NS1.com.
And that's based off name server one?
You got it. Yeah, that's exactly where it comes from. Everyone always wonders, what is that bizarre name? And it is the canonical host name of the DNS server in any enterprise, right? So that's where it comes from.
I didn't guess. I did research.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have known that. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest.
Wow. I'm just wondering if I can get a sticker or a T-shirt, something that says NS1. We make your wildest dreams come true. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to make a custom sticker just for you, but
I see how it is. No, it's cool. Be that way.
But feel free to take that idea. That's yours. That's free.
You got it.
Gratis.
Wildest dreams. Got it.
All right. Well, Kris, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. I really appreciate your insight, on edge computing, as well as kind of hearing that story about how you guys got started and the issues you guys are solving for us.
For sure. It's been a blast, guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to look at the news from this week. But stay with us. We'll be right back on Technado with Dyn Pizet.
Human resources and learning and development leaders, you know your staff is your company's biggest competitive advantage. How can you make sure they have the ever-evolving business and technical skills needed to stay ahead and keep your company safe in today's world? Introducing Skills Pro TV, a platform to upskill your team and outpace your competition. Skills Pro TV provides highly engaging, entertaining, and effective skills development across a wide variety of areas, including security awareness, business skills, applications for doing work, and digital literacy. It's a convenient and affordable way to teach your team to stay ahead of threats and to effectively use technology. Best of all, with a blend of animation, live action scene work, and talk show format, it's training that they'll actually enjoy. Your team will appreciate that you're investing in their professional growth in a way that fits their personal life. It's productivity and performance for everyone. Contact ACI Learning today to learn more about Skills Pro TV and to start your free team trial.
All right, welcome back to Technado with Don Pizzette without Don Pizzette this week, which is always, just at risk for going off the rails.
Just shorten that up to
At any
Technado
moment.
without Don Pizzette.
Yeah. Yeah, it should. Can we? I don't know how hard it is to get a new logo, but
Yeah.
I think we can just put an X right there.
Yeah.
If he comes back next week, we'll take it off. That's fine. Thank you so much, Kris Beevers from NS1 for joining us. And we have a lot of news to get to. So let's go ahead and jump into our first article from Phoronix.com. Debian 11 is releasing this weekend with many improvements. Are they just trying to get out before Windows 11? I think that's...
Oh, that does make sense.
Yeah, they got to keep on. Did they skip 9?
Well, that maybe not so much trying to get it out before Windows 11, but riding the coattails of search.
Of everyone going, hey,
engine
did you hear about version 11 of the
right?
operating
Yeah,
system?
you'd go 11, and that's where we're at. You're Nigel, what's his name from Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11.
I was like, where's it going? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So this is a new kernel too, right?
It is. It looks like it actually ended up jumping here from 4.19 to 5.10.
Blasphemy!
That is for
No,
you.
you don't do that.
That's skipping a few.
Yeah. You don't skip kernels. You absolutely skip kernels,
Yes,
especially
you
if
do.
it's a better one.
Yeah.
Do either guys, you guys use Debian?
Debian. So I don't use Debian. I have used Debian. I liked it. Honestly, all the distro kind of playing around with that I've done within the recent past has been a pretty pleasant experience, regardless of where its pedigree. So Debian is a main fork of Linux. And then from there, we get things like Ubuntu and then Linux Mint and, all sorts of great stuff on that side of the fence. And then you got the whole Red Hat variants with the CentOSes, which no longer exist. And we're off in that wonderful little land. Not really my cup of tea, but still, those that I have messed with have been, again, a pleasant experience. I would be interested in installing. I mean, they say they got 59,000 packages are available. That's probably, to me, one of the biggest selling points of just any Linux distro is the ability to work with a package manager. I know that Windows has something similar, and they have the whole Windows store. I just don't find that to be as good of an experience as just being able to go to and go apt-get update, apt-get install, package. Oh, it's installed. Yay, we're done.
As opposed to Windows where it just installs updates whenever it wants.
Well, not so much that, but just that that's more package.
Yeah.
Not package, but operating system updates and things of that nature. When you want to install software through their package management, you go to the Windows Store, and then it bitches about you not being logged in with a Windows
Account.
because I don't want that. I just want to install the software. And then it's weird, and it's like, is it installing? Oh, it kind of delayed. It looks like it's installing. And then it kind of it's almost like it's like adware where it's trying to get you to click other things. I'm like, just install the stuff. What is your problem?
Fine, give me the Yahoo toolbar.
Right. And then, I've worked with Windows Subsystem for Linux, and anyway, I'm rambling. It was a debacle. I hate Windows. It's all right, I guess. It's better than Mac OS.
Yeah, no, this is kind of neat because out of those 59,000 packages, 11,000 of them are new.
That's a lot.
That's quite a bit of new packages
Yeah.
to
What
say, hey,
what will you find?
what wouldn't you find?
I
with
know.
11,000
Like
new-
Christmas opening all those packages.
Jeez.
Another particular very interesting release with this is, of course, the idea of exFAT support now due to the new kernel that's been
It's
released.
about time.
Yeah.
How are we in 2021 and this is just now supporting exFAT?
Well, it's supporting it natively, right?
Yeah, natively.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before that, they actually
You had to
had
have like a module
Fuse,
loaded. Yeah.
that you actually had to be able to put on there. So you could do exFAT if you wanted to, but you had to have that additional.
Right.
Now it's actually natively supported, which makes it for those that aren't exactly sure. Now that means there's a compatible file system that can be run between Windows and Mac OS
Yeah.
as well
And
as
Yep.
Debian.
So if I were putting something on like a USB drive
Yeah,
before, I
it's
would have had
kinda-
to pick or go find a different way to put it in exFAT.
So you would kind of like have to choose whether or not you're going to be able to be supported on one platform or another.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
there
nice.
was that.
I mean, it's always nice when it makes something more compatible across the board. And let's see, any other cool features? Control
Got
groups.
the YesCrypt
YesCrypt,
password
yeah.
hashing. That's interesting that it's moved away from, I don't know what its default was, maybe a SHA or.
Yeah, it was a SHA
Yeah.
512, and it's moved now to YesCrypt. And so for this one, it's a big deal because anytime a particular distro, right, says, "Hey, look, we're going to change the algorithm to your passwords."
Now I got to figure out what module I got to use in Hashcat to crack the thing.
Yeah, so I mean, they're updating us, but again, it's relatively new.
Yeah.
So we don't know like all the other things that may come along with that, but at least this is the future that Debian is actually going to be thinking is the way that they want to move. So
There you go.
pretty good features here as far as the idea of changing the kernel to make all these things added in. I think that's worthy. Everything that we've actually seen so far seems to actually say, "Hey, look, this is not a minor update. This is something that's pretty hefty."
And those things are cool and everything, but it ends up really, for me, being the user experience. Like, I don't really care what kernel is running under the hood as long as the dang thing works. If it does what I need it to do. If that means a kernel upgrade, then great.
If it's secure and
But-
it works.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, I don't care. That's just me. I'm more pragmatic when it comes to my experience. So, which makes me very agnostic when it comes to the vendor. Right?
Yeah.
As long as it's doing what I need it to do and it does it the way I like it, then I'm happy.
Well, it comes out this weekend, so try it
Time to
out.
give it a whirl.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Reach out to us at technado.com and let us know your feedback on it if you've got a chance to use it. I'm hesitant to ask feedback about the next article because of what I've seen so far. But our next article comes to us from TheVerge.com. Start 11 brings a classic start menu back to Windows 11. And that is, of course, because
It's about damn time.
Yeah. The new Windows 11, for the beta is out. It's kind of more of a Mac OS thing there where you're kind of seeing all the programs and not very start menu-y.
Yeah. Can I change that?
You can
Yeah.
with Start 11, which this is not their first foray, right? They've done this ever since
Windows
XP?
8.
Well, yeah, they made it for 8.
They did that unusual touch
Oh,
desktop
that's right. Because it
thing,
was meant to be like Windows 8 was developed for
like a
like
tablet.
a tablet,
something.
mobile device
touch
kind of
first,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then 8.1 said, no, we're bringing the menu back. And then, of course, from that point on, it apparently continues to try and make its way out of the Windows operating system. And every user says, no, let's put it back, is what it comes down to. So it looks like that they're actually doing it again.
Well, it's funny they have to rely on third parties to do that. I mean, it's interesting that Microsoft doesn't give you that option, but they're really trying to push you away from that. But I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's people just can't let go, and maybe this is how it should be now in the future, or
It's been
or
that
would
way
you-
for in the business, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Where you've been on that operating system for so long, you're used to that. Even when you go home, you're not like wanting to change something. You want it to kind of be that consistent look
So
and feel.
for me, this is and of course, this is one man's opinion. I could be completely wrong on this. It's just my thoughts on it. Is that they're doing it to compete with MacBook or Mac OS,
Sure.
to be more to try to reach that audience a little bit better.
even the Chromebook? I mean, that's the
Right.
same kind of look.
Right. It's very similar. So we're starting to see this uniform. It's more uniform, right? You get the same kind of experience. They're not the outlier. Of course, then you have Linux. You can do whatever the hell you want there.
Yeah.
But also just that for people that have to support this, that have to, it makes life a whole lot more difficult because now those steps I have in my head, I got to relearn to go, because a lot of times when you're supporting somebody, especially over the phone as like a workstation support, you're going, okay, click start, go here, go here, go here. You have those steps memorized because you do them all the
Yeah,
time.
and then they go, I don't
And
know.
now you just flush that down the toilet. And it's like, oh, jeez, I don't know where that is. Hold on, let me bring up a Windows 11 machine because I'm not currently on that.
Well, then you got to ask, do you have Start 11? Okay,
Yeah,
then thank God, hit
Right.
Start.
It gets, it might actually be that way. So it can be a big learning curve. I hate when they do stuff like this where they move things around and change it completely. Stick with what people know and just make that better is my advice to them, because that would be great for everybody.
All right. So
Yeah.
You're old school.
Moving it
Rodney
doesn't
likes
make
change.
it better. It just makes it different for the sake of being different.
God, do you yell at kids to get off your yard too?
Absolutely. Like, you listen, you little sons of...
This is my ball now.
hell.
That's right.
Keep it. Man, you're like Clint Eastwood in El Camino.
Yeah. He was a crotchety old dude.
He
in that
was a
movie.
crotchety old dude.
Yeah.
It sounded just like
that
you.
lovely little girl just melted his heart, though.
The good old days with the start menu.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let us know if you use that and see how it looks. But you probably won't, because if you're
Well,
if you're on the beta,
$5, right? If you want to actually implement this right now, according to the
it costs money.
Yeah,
Start,
it's not free.
11 beta is available today, priced at $4.99.
You want that? You got to get that
I'm having a feeling the people that are on the beta like the
they
new.
love
Yeah.
the old thing, right? They want the new thing, but they want some comfort. And because why else would you be using the old start menu? What would be the purpose
don't
of
know.
going back to a different style?
I don't know. Because you're dumb.
Answer the
also-
question, Peter.
Yeah. You also have that,
Kidding.
I'm anti Mac OS, and I don't want it to look like Mac, and
No, that's
I
true.
want to look and feel like Windows.
As long as it doesn't give me like where if I'm right clicking on stuff, it doesn't have delete. It gives me stupid move to trash.
And as long as it still has 2 mouse buttons, I'm happy.
There you go.
Go down to 1. That's just dumb.
I mean, what kind of fool would create a system where you only have 1 mouse button? I mean, come on.
Annoying. All right, our next article
dude
comes
made
to
money.
us. Next article is from tomshardware.com. Company reveals all Russian PCs using an ARM SOC. Is that SOC?
Yep. System on a chip.
Yep.
Okay, because I know SOC is like Security Operations
Center.
Center too. I didn't know
Yep,
if that was still SOC. And Linux. What? All Russian computers are using it? Or this is
All
a
Russian. You'll love it. It's great.
Yeah, this is apparently
IRU.
Russian made, and
Yeah.
all the components that they can actually bring in.
So,
The
did
funny
you read the article?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing to me is actually the subtitle, right? PC maker IRU launches all Russian system featuring SoC that delivers 2015
Error performance.
error performance.
yeah,
Which is kind of a dig at them, but
No.
then they go in. If you read the article, they kind of back off from
Yeah.
that a little bit, but
I would expect like a Russian-made PC to be like a diesel. Like you got to go outside and cold start
Pump it
your
up.
computer. And,
so I mean, when you don't have this infrastructure from the 50s,
Everything. Yeah.
where we've been developing chips for quite some time. I want to say from the 50s, around that era, and they're trying to play catch up. But honestly, I think that their motives seem almost patriotic, where they're saying we want to build Russian stuff. We want to have made in Russia.
yeah, use Russian components.
Right?
Yeah.
We're patriots. We want to do that. Obviously, they're not patriots for America, so they're not wanting to buy stuff that's made in America, and
Or China, even because I'm
or
imagining
China
most
even,
of their,
right?
their
even though
stuff
they're kind of
comes,
friendly or whatever.
comes from Asia. Yeah.
So yeah, the base system on a chip here is an ARM Cortex A57 operating at 1.5 gigahertz here, and what it comes down to is a little bit more powerful than a Raspberry Pi, from what I
Yeah.
understand. So,
But if you're just doing business applications, it should be fine.
but from the picture, a much bigger case. than a
Yeah,
Raspberry.
a much bigger kit. If that is the case, maybe it's just like perspective. here.
I hope that. Well, I'm looking at that too, and it's got those old school
Your
like
feet
color
on
coded. Well, I was going to say the color coded like headphone.
Oh, yeah,
jack and stuff
yeah.
that you don't even see anymore. Like when the cables were. What was
maybe
it,
it's
serial?
maybe it's all about expansion, right? They're giving you enough room to expand
you
out
can,
into other
you
things.
can put external speakers.
I don't know.
Or whatever you
That's
want.
where they hide the listening devices. And
yeah,
Yeah, it's got to have room. Yeah, it's
Dude,
all,
I was
it's all
listening to some
microphones.
story about how in the American embassy that was in Russia or maybe in Germany during the Cold War, they started looking for listening devices. They're scanning for these listening devices, and they found one in their typewriters, and that they had installed into the chimney. They put it in the concrete. It was an antenna for sending the signal out. I was like, that is some straight up spy
Yeah.
shiz right there, right?
That's cool.
That is crazy level spyage.
And who was responsible on the American side to check for this stuff while they were building? Like,
So that was
big
NSA.
metal, yeah, that big metal pole that goes
Yeah.
in the chimney. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that
Well,
sounds
then,
normal.
they hire somebody to come in and build. No, it was embedded in the concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was probably even
The
there before they
mortar
moved in the
of
building.
the
Yeah.
chimney. Yeah. I'm like, dang.
All right, well, I don't know if you'll be able to export one of these systems over here, or if you would want to, but might be fun to kind of play with and take a
Or
look.
Just buy an old phone on eBay.
That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't. Does it say anything anywhere about the cost? It doesn't look like it.
No real cost is actually mentioned.
Two
but it
loaves
does,
of bread
yeah.
and a roll of toilet paper.
A Yugo.
Yeah, it does mention it does mention what Daniel was talking about here, right? The very fact is, Russia has been trying for apparently years now to get off of the Western-based or the U.S.-based types of computer systems to develop on their own, but this gives them a benefit here.
Are they building chips themselves? And that's
I
what
don't
they're
know if
doing.
they're not yet.
Just building
So,
systems based off of those
right now
technologies.
because they're basing it off of what we're seeing here, the ARM so far, and but it's the ability here to not be dependent upon another manufacturer.
Yeah.
If they need to order 1 million computers, they can actually build them on their own.
Yeah, because I'm sure well, shoot, I clicked on that chip manufacturer in the article, and it
was a phishing link.
It's all in Russian, so let's go to English.
What's your point?
But I wonder if they're affected by
You don't read Russian?
by the chip shortage.
Yeah.
But this looks to be a Russian
Cyrillic,
chip
I guess?
manufacturer, though. So.
Is that the
Yeah, I think it's called
Cyrillic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do have 2 10 gigabit Ethernet ports though on their computers.
Hey.
So
Not
there
bad.
you go. That
Should I click allow all cookies from this?
I'm now starting to think like I'm gonna find the oldest
Why not?
laptop I have in my stash of old crap.
Yeah.
And just see if I can use it as my daily driver.
Yeah. There you go.
So I'm running, 200 megahertz, 486.
Get an old Pentium.
Yeah, old Pentium.
All right. Our next article comes to us from Bloomberg.com. Oh, this is what I was just talking about. Chip delivery time surpasses 20 weeks
yeah.
in no sign shortage easing.
Maybe the Russians are smarter than we think. They're just using old chips that are laying around.
Yeah.
They don't have to wait
Like
for them.
we took these out of the nukes. They were.
They're like, stupid American. We use chip that is already here. You got to wait half a year for yours.
Well, and this is something that's trickling down to, the auto
Everything.
industry,
Yeah.
to all kinds of places. That when you think about, we moved to a society where everything is IoT, so everything's got a chip in it. So
Yeah.
now why can't I get a fridge? Well, there's no chips.
Yeah.
I just want it to be cold.
Yeah, and the delays here are incredible, right? Because it goes from like the semiconductor ordering increased from 8 days to 20.2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
pretty
a lot.
hefty. That's a delay in everything.
That's almost half a year, right?
And then from this point on, it doesn't seem to actually say, hey, look, this is when it's going to drop off. So the only thing we're actually seeing is the increasing delays in all these chips, which means anything that has a chip in it that you might have actually said, I could get this last year, I ordered it last year, it may be longer than you think before you actually get it.
It
So-
actually says that shortages of microcontrollers, logic chips that control functions in cars, industrial equipment,
Yeah.
and home electronics jumped to 26.5 weeks.
Yeah, and it's just going up as you start getting these things. So, like you said, refrigerators, that have chips in them now.
Yeah.
Those are going to be delayed. Imagine when those things breaking, and now you're saying, "Hey, I need a chip for this." And
So
who
because
knows
of
how long.
shortages, are we going to do like World War II style,
Rationing?
rationing?
I've got a
And say,
card for my chip.
Listen, do not buy a refrigerator with a chip in it. Go buy a regular refrigerator because we need those for the war effort or the
Yeah, the
other
cyber war.
cooler stuff than your
Yeah.
refrigerator effort.
Or maybe we'll see more recycling too, where they're like, whoa,
Right.
before you scrap that, let me get the chip out of
Yeah,
there
right.
because we could use the silicon or
Or
whatever.
maybe these manufacturers would kind of take a page out of these Russian guys' book and go, well, let's just use chips that we already have available.
Yeah.
How much power do I need in my refrigerator?
no one's using all these Furbies anymore.
Yeah, right. Snatch the chip out of that bad boy.
Because what did you say earlier? You read a tweet. It was before we were on there.
Oh, yeah, that most consumer electronics are just plastic boxes with an abandoned Linux distro in it.
Yeah, there's probably a chip in there too.
Right, and most likely a chip in there.
So that would work. I like it. We're solving problems here.
Yay.
Is this just because of COVID? Are there
I
natural
think there's
resources?
No, I
supply
think
chain
there-
shortages.
Well, for chips, it's probably some because most chips are made in Taiwan, right? And then there's that whole thing with China and Taiwan that could
I've
be
heard about
causing
that.
some issues.
So
Has a
yeah,
custody battle.
there's geopolitical
Right.
things that are going on, but at the same time, also remember that mess in the Strait of Hormuz several months ago, if not a year ago now. It feels like a whole year ago. And we don't see how much of that backs everything up, but everything that actually was behind that, right, also stopped, and we don't know how long it stopped for them too, and so. It's just one of these things which it compounds the problem. The longer that it delays, the worse it's going to get until, I guess there's going to become a new normal. Instead of saying, hey, things will get done in 2 weeks, it's going to be things will get done now in 10 weeks.
Well, there
instead.
you go.
Stupid.
This is our life.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah, and as you'll see in our next article, we're kind of talking about the same thing, but this next article is something we've talked about before, so this is Deja News.
Yes.
Deja
News. Dance it, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Give it to us. Sweet streak.
Make that
moves you
beard
got there.
bounce.
Yeah.
All right, this one is from ArsTechnica.com. AT&T delays 500,000 fiber to the home builds due to severe fiber shortage. They'd planned to wire up to 3 million homes this year and will hit 2.5 million instead. I guess I was lucky that I think it was 2018 that we got fiber run to us. But is this just kind of the same thing, just resources and labor and...
Yes.
All right, cool. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those strange things here. If AT&T is reporting it, and in the article they talk about, look, we're already the largest fiber purchasers, in the entirety.
And the largest preferred,
preferred
buyer.
customer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already the largest customer. If they're saying it's delayed that way, where they can't service 500,000 of their people, well, imagine companies that actually aren't the preferred purchasers.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
So
there's no issue of demand here. Like people are
it's
like,
in
oh, I
demand.
can't wait till they get this in my neighborhood because I want to switch from the cable company or the DSL I'm on or the satellite. So, this is an
Looking
issue
at
of-
you, Cox.
Yeah, cable. So this is just an issue of how quickly they can get this out. They're adding customers. So of course, if they had it, they'd put it out. What is this stuff made out of? What is the fiber optic cable?
And a glass.
Silica
Is it
glass.
just glass? Yeah.
Silica glass. Yep.
I'm surprised they haven't, that this isn't driving, and maybe it is driving innovation to say, hey, we could make this out of this instead, or this kind of plastic.
Maybe they can't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, that's just impossible.
Yeah, like we could make this out of human veins.
I can see the extraction process for that
Yeah,
business.
because don't they say you have like miles in you?
Hey, what about your nerve fibers?
Yeah, I don't need those.
That's fast.
Because hey, if I can get faster internet, I'll give up those nerve fibers.
Yeah, get them. I don't feel a thing.
Come get this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna be sitting in my recliner.
Yeah. Well, how do you get those out?
Playing
that sounds not
Fortnite,
good.
yeah.
So I'll be dead, is what you're saying.
Well, if you can figure out a way to keep my brain going.
Yeah. We
with
got that
faster
technology
internet.
yet? Like Futurama style, you just cut my head off, stick it in a jar?
Yeah, so basically, you should just move to a place that already has fiber.
That's probably a faster way to go.
That's the better way to go.
If you move to one of those 90 places that they actually listed, or that they talked about there, that larger urban populated areas, you'll be able to get access to your fiber.
Yeah, it says that AT&T's goal is to get at least 40% of homes subscribed to fiber in areas where they deploy it, which is quite a bit. I mean, AT&T, good for them. That you think about 30 years ago, what percentage of their money was phone service versus
long distance.
today, long distance, which
yeah.
I had to explain to my daughter the other day, like, no,
let's
it
call
costs
AT&T.
money
Yeah.
to call that next town over.
Yeah.
What?
Use 1-800, call AT&T.
Yes.
And then you then dial your number.
Oh, jeez.
At
And now, I mean, the internet's got to be.
I remember when those started, right? It was 1-800 Collect was like the first
Yeah.
one. And it was like 10 cents a minute. And you were like, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
This is so cheap.
So I dial 1-800 Collect and then I dial my number and I get 10 cents a minute long distance. You're crazy. And then by the end of it was like, we'll pay you if you call.
Yeah, please.
Please
use our
if you
service.
use these services, we will give you money.
Well, I wonder what we'll be missing out on next. If it's glass, what else is glass? Decorative vases.
I don't think it's so much that are they running into. I mean,
No,
sand is
the-
one of the most
yeah.
abundant things on Earth.
Yeah, they should go to the
so it's
desert.
not a problem with like
This is
creation; it's
supply.
distribution. It's being able to create it.
And probably labor
Yeah.
as well. Maybe a labor shortage.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And
A
them as
lot of
well.
people not working.
Yeah.
Even though there's like bazillion jobs
You're like,
available.
you sure you don't want to dig a ditch to put this fiber cable down? That sounds like fun. No? Okay.
Well, I'm going to pay you.
You're
going to pay
lost.
me as much as I get in this unemployment? No? All right, then.
You're
Moving on.
lost. All right, hey, want to let you know about a webinar coming up from IT Pro TV. Is your security battle tested? Proving your security works the way you want it to. That's coming up with Ben Fink, and that is taking place on Thursday, August 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So that is this week. But don't worry, if you are listening on Thursday, you can still go ahead and catch that at 2 p.m. Eastern Time by heading over to itpro.tv/webinars. And if you're listening after the fact, we'll get that up there ASAP, lickety-split, right after it is done. Probably like a day or two later. But you can check that out, again, at itpro.tv/webinars. And we have all the archived webinars on there. Let's see. Yeah, got one from Daniel recently, dissecting malware. Looking at next level CompTIA search. What's the last one you did, Ronnie? We got to get you back in there.
Apprenticeships.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and get hands-on with Cisco Labs. I'm looking at that one. Where's the apprenticeships one?
It's just Ronnie throwing Cisco equipment across the room.
Yeah. You just hosted that one, Ronnie. I'm talking about, I want to see Ronnie presenting content.
I want to see Ronnie like an old belligerent drunk just throwing Cisco equipment off the floor.
Every morning, Jim.
Yeah. You just got to be here early enough. I mean,
Yeah.
Ronnie gets here early.
I come in, he's always sweeping.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
Oh, man.
Damn shame.
How much did that switch cost?
And you want to go
Expensive.
ahead and head over to technado.com as well. You can see all of our latest episodes. There's a form that you can submit some listener mail. And again, if we read your submission on the air or cover your article, we will send you a T-shirt and Technado sticker as well. So definitely check that out. But there's a big orange button that says sponsored by IT Pro TV on that page. Go ahead and click that, and you can get a 30% off coupon code for the lifetime of your personal membership to IT Pro TV. You can also, right there on Daniel's shirt, which you can barely see in the dark corner that he's hiding in today. And you can also request a team trial and learn about the great features available to teams from IT Pro TV as well. So check all that out. Well, Ronnie, thank you again for joining us.
Thank
this
you
week.
for inviting me.
It is.
I vote we just keep Ronnie.
Yeah.
I don't.
Don's a horrible man.
I'll tell you what, if Don tells us that he heard this part, if Don actually goes back and listens to this episode and says, hey, that was kind of mean, then let's bring him back on. If he doesn't even listen and just comes back on assuming that
How'd it
everything's
go?
all right. Yeah. Oh, it went great. Yeah.
Well, you're off the show.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Technado, formerly with Don Pizzette.
Yes, now with Ronnie Wong.
Now featuring
Now featuring 100% more Ronnie.
Yeah, more Wong than we've ever had. All right. Well,
Weird.
Had to go there.
It's a weird phrase.
it's a tagline. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
This is where if people are still
Don't
listening,
hashtag
they're
that.
like,
Why am I still listening?
downvote this.
Yeah. Hey, a downvote, that's a vote as far as I'm concerned.
That's
And
right.
Thank you for listening.
No such thing as bad publicity, right?
Talk to Subway. You let me know. All right.
There's
we'll
that.
We'll go ahead and see you guys next
Wow.
week
I
on
stand
the
corrected.
next Technado with Don Pizzette.